everyone, welcome back to another Friday and another casual champion review. It's Milio time. Milio time. I'm excited to play Milio today because we're doing a silly thing. I've played a lot of champions on roll as of late, and I thought, hell no, for Milio, we're gonna do the Dark Main special. We're playing full AP mid lane with first strike against a Yasuo who blocks the one damaging spell I have. So this is gonna be great. You know what is actually great though? Fan art section. I did say last week how excited I was to see what you fellas would do with Milio, and I am not disappointed. These are absolutely amazing. Oh my god, they're so good. The little flamingos from the lighting on these is so good. Oh, you guys are absolutely wonderful. I am a little worried that next week is misfortune, and I trust you guys will be very normal about that, but thank you, fellas. Hopefully you'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the video. So I imagine I'm going to get absolutely rolled here. The Yasuo player has like 200,000 mastery points, and there's a couple diamond and master level tier players in this game because my account is high level, and therefore Riot thinks that I am good at this game. Oh, Yasuo. Yasuo players are the kind of people that go to the pound to kick puppies instead of adopt them. Anyway, on Milio's lore, well, it goes back to a bit further to his grandmother, Lupe, and her sister, Lune, who were twin sisters of elemental magic, one of fire and one of earth. But because Lune was caught trying to plot against the Ishtal ruling caste, the Yuntal, the Ishtali system of government's not very fair, and they both get banished as a result. Unfortunately, Lune goes missing shortly after, but Lupe is banished to the far reaches of Ishtal. But, you know, she tries to make do, live her best life, and she does settle down and have a family there among a small village, and eventually Milio is born as her grandson. But Lupe longed to return back to the capital of Ishtal, back to Ishao Khan. I thought, maybe, you know, if I could teach one of my children or grandchildren how to use elemental magic, then maybe we could be redeemed. Okay, I was trying to shield you. Get out of my face. Unfortunately, none of her family showed much promise in this avenue, and especially with Milio, who struggled a lot with the elemental magics, but he was intrigued by the fire axiom. That's gonna get confusing. For some reason, they call elemental magic elemental axioms, you know, fire axiom, earth axiom, nature axiom, that kind of stuff. But Milio grew fascinated with it because all the other axioms could be used in more helpful ways, like earth with building, water with building, but fire was just kind of universally destructive force, and he thought, does it always have to be this destructive? So one day Milio was chasing fireflies through the woods and discovered a injured member of his village. And unfortunately, the village healer was way too far away to be able to help, so he thought, well, I gotta figure out how to help this guy myself. And so Milio forced himself, trying to use the fire axiom to bend it to do something it was not meant to do. I think he tried to cauterize the wound at first. Oh, you rat. But after so much concentration and forcing himself and using his own inner fire, he touches the chest of the injured. Oh, dear. He placed his hands on the chest of the injured villager and discovers her inner fire, that soul, that beating heart within her, and it manifests itself into a tiny little creature. Milio grabs this tiny creature, places it on her wound, and it heals her instantly, which we now know that that tiny little creature is his Flamigo. No! Oh, please. Oh! Yasuo, you can't kill Milio with fire. That's like his whole thing. But what if I disguise this as my own cooking? Oh my goodness. Oh god. Oh, not today, Mantheon, you stink. Why'd they need 3 people to kill Milio mid? And it turns out that Milio had discovered an entirely new side to the fire axiom, and maybe an entirely new axiom together, and he dubbed it the soothing fire. He was now able to fully use the fire axiom, not as a destructive force, but as a way to heal people. And he brought this knowledge back to his village, and his grandmother was suspicious that he mastered the fire axiom in the incorrect way. It broke tradition. It's not how it's supposed to work. But on the other hand, Milio, who's only 12 years old at this current moment, had displayed such mastery, such a unique innovation over the fire axiom. This was their ticket. Maybe if they sent Milio to Ishao Khan to prove himself to the ruling caste against the Vidalian, which is, I swear, I always forget what the Vidalian is. I know it makes clothes, for elemental masters, if I remember correctly, is that the elemental mage has to test their might against it, or it judges them if they're worthy or they mastered the element or something. I don't remember, but it's something like that. Lupe wants to send Milio to Ishao Khan to go on this grand journey to prove himself and maybe redeem his family's name and end their exile. And so Milio is packed up, ready to go. He travels across Ishtal, meeting all kinds of familiar faces along the way. He sees Zyra and Malphite. He becomes good buddies with Nico, which is great. I'd like to see a little short story with them at some point. And he meets Nidalee, and I assume he meets Chip if he met Malphite. And he arrived in the capital, Ishao Khan, and rumors of his talent start to spread. Who is this little child who showed up out of the woods and suddenly knows a whole different side to the fire axiom no one's ever heard of? Why is he so good at it at such a young age? And those rumors spread to not just Kiana, which is really funny because Kiana has historically really struggled with the fire axiom, so to see a 12-year-old child master it better than she has in a whole different way, I found it really funny. I forgot to include that part of the video, but here it is now. But it also grabbed the attention of Lune, who, shocker, is still alive, just imprisoned under the city, waiting for her time to strike back. So maybe Lune could become a champion someday, or if they ever decide, oh, did no damage. If Riot ever decides to make another Ishtal champion or progress Milio's story in some way, then, you know, that's kind of a cool way to take it. Believe me, you guys do not need this many people to kill me. Fallen. Wait, I can get him. I can kill him. No! I almost had him. I don't know how Nathan does it. He truly has a talent. So now that we're done with his lore, we can move on to his design. And he is a very important character to the League mythos because he is the first new proper Ishtali champion since the entire region was introduced. Oh my... Fallen! Please! Please! Oh, I did it! Milio's important in that way for Ishtal because when Ishtal was designed, it was for Kiana. I don't know if it was because they couldn't figure out how to make Kiana work in any other way than to design a new region for her, or if it was just they wanted to make a new region. But it is the big problem with Ishtal that this guy and Kiana are the only two that were actually designed for the region. I guess Skarner now as well, technically, because the other Ishtali champions are what? Nico and Zyra, Malphite, Rengar, Nidalee, and none of them were designed for that region. They were all in various places across Runeterra or in the quote-unquote Kamungu jungle, which I think is still canon, but it got meshed into Ishtal later on. And so Milio was an opportunity to expand upon what they'd set up all those years ago back in Season 9, which is now, God, Season 9 was half a decade ago. Jesus Christ. Soothing fire moment. Isn't it soothing? Look how soothing it is. Yeah, it's so soothing, your bones melted. Milio wasn't just an opportunity to expand on Ishtal, though. It was an attempt to try and, I hesitate to say fix it, because Kiana, to me, always had that problem in the same vein that Leona has, where all of the people around her look so much cooler than she does. I mean, look at all the concept art for the people from Ishtal. These are elemental mages with their clothes woven by the Vidalian. It's so cool, this like living cloth. It looks like it's actually made out of plant material and waves. It's such a cool aesthetic. And then you look at Kiana. Don't hit me. Why would you do that? Yasuo players the kind of people that set up a charity donation, then pocket all the money for themselves so they can buy cigarettes. Kiana was so lame when she got revealed. I know a lot of people like her. They're like, that's good for you. But to me, she looked like any mobile game character. Any sort of just play as your favorite battle princess and it'll be great. But then you look at Milio. Look at the colors. In large part, I think because he's such a great contrast to Annie. Because if you think about it, why would you introduce a fire-themed child character when we already have Annie? Isn't that really redundant? But I think it's because of Annie's existence actually that makes Milio that much better, because you do get that aspect of them being complete polar opposites of each other. Two different sides of fire. You get that pure, raw, destructive side of fire with Annie, where her whole character arc is about tragedy and about destruction and hating everything and demonic powers colored in blacks and purples, which are often associated with evil. And then you look at Milio, and it's these bright greens and reds and golds, and all his fire magic is about healing and helping people. You know, because humans, we don't just see fire as a pure destructive force. We use it for cooking and for heating our homes. You know, little fire pits, even back in the Stone Age. fire pits to keep us warm. And of course, like the biggest metaphor, probably like the phoenix, symbol of rebirth and nature's healing. His color scheme is also not just a complete opposite to Annie in that aspect, but it's also very loud. Especially with the Flamingos, he has this bright orange to him, these very loud, high saturated, and having those loud colors is again good contrast to the fact that he's a kid. He's very loud and energetic. It gives that element of childlike wonder. And of course, you know, the fact that he carries his little friends with him, the Flamingos, in this big backpack. I think the other cool thing about him is the fact that he is a firebender, not just in the fact that he's an opposite of Annie, but also because it introduces something new to Ishtal. He's not just another earthbender or another waterbender. It's gonna sound very normie of me, I guess, because I'll compare it to Avatar. I mean, you can't blame me with all the stuff about elemental axioms. But as far as I remember, Ishtal isn't just locked to 4 elements. They got, you know, fire, earth, nature, water, but they also got lightning. Time might be one, because Zillion trained in Ishtal for a bit. But it does harken back to Avatar and the idea of sub-bending classes. You know, with earth bending, you can do metal bending. It's a very rare skill. Or with water bending, there's plant bending and blood bending and ice. Or with fire, there's lightning bending. So introducing this subclass adds depth to the region. It does make it feel like they kind of had to change the overall system, like the rules of how this universe works to make Milio happen, but it doesn't feel as much of a stretch for him as it does for, like, say example Nila, where they invented a whole region. We didn't even know what Kothkon even looked like until LOR, and I highly doubt they're ever gonna make another Kothkon champion in general. But it is exciting to see that Ishtal is finally getting some love after all this time with Milio and with Skarner. One of these days I'm gonna land a killer ball and oh, well, I mean, that was kind of cool. I do think Milio helps to enrich the region, which, you know, is not saying a lot considering there's only been like 1 champion actually fully designed for it. I guess now there's 3 with Skarner, Milio, Kiana. And that's kind of cool where each of the proper Ishtali champions now offers something, or at least represent each different part of Ishtal in that way. You have the more humble village people of Ishtal with Milio. You have the upper class royalty, or I guess like ruling class in Kiana. And you have the old ways, the ancient Ishtal with Skarner. I just don't think they're ever going to do anything with him, is the thing. I don't think Riot cares enough to actually go back to Milio. In fact, I kind of feel that way about nearly every single champion that released last year, because what do we have? We have Milio, Nefiri, Briar, Hui. Like, I don't feel like Riot is gonna do anything with them at any point in the near future. I guess Milio did get added to Wild Rift. That's probably a good spot to transition over to gameplay, because while I have been usually quite fond of the Wild Rift changes they do, like they did with Kassadin and Karma, I feel like what they did to Milio in Wild Rift just completely destroyed the most flavorful part of his character. I am very surprised they added him at all, considering how new he is to the League roster. I would have thought they would have added Renata sooner, or like the Udyr update. But I guess, does Wild Rift have that many enchanters? I think they do. Milio is weird in the spot of being an enchanter. They designed him explicitly to be the quote-unquote first male enchanter, which that's not even technically true, is it? Tark and Rakan just not count at all? I know there's pseudo-enchanters or not true enchanters like Janna or Lulu or something, but they're still close enough. To say Milio is the first male enchanter in general is kind of a bit of a stretch. He's definitely the first true full male enchanter, I'll give him that. It just kind of sucks that most of the other enchanters kind of do everything that he does better. He's got one form of crowd control, he's got a shield, a heal, and he's got an AoE QSS. And if you want all that, just pick Lulu. She does the exact same thing, but easier. That's probably because they're not really skill shots. She can more accurately use it on herself. I keep trying to cleanse being knocked up by Yasuo, and it's just not working. And if your whole ult is hard CC, but you can't even use it when you're CC, like ideally you'd get a Mumu ulted, and you would just use it, and then you free your whole team, but you can't do that if you're stunned. You have to make sure. It's like Mercy in old Overwatch when people would just use all their ults at any given time, spam all together, and Mercy would just hide behind a corner, come out, and then revive the entire team. I feel like that's what you're supposed to do with Milio, which doesn't make as much sense because he doesn't have a way to get in quickly like Mercy does. And if you're fighting a character with multiple forms of hard crowd control, like if you're fighting Morgana, sure, one big impactful crowd control you can cleanse, that's pretty good. But if you're fighting Nawless, who has like 30 different kinds of CC, cleansing one isn't really gonna do a whole lot when you don't have really much else to protect your AD carry. Really, the absolute best part about Milio is the W. One, because it does offer something kind of unique in that you give your AD carry or whoever's standing at range auto attacks, but it's also fun because it's the most flavorful of his abilities. You literally huddle around the campfire. Get in the campfire, Hui! We will beat this beast. I like my steak medium rare. Fallen. And the silly part about that is because it is the most flavorful ability he has and the most unique one, of course, Wild Rift took that and said, yeah, we kind of replace it with something else. Just place it on your ally and it's just like a Zenyatta orb. No, that defeats the whole fun. The whole purpose is you can have the Flamigos out to cuddle around the campfire. That's part of the whole fun of this character, is that you're just a silly kid running around nature with silly little goober guys healing people with fire somehow. Do correct me if I'm wrong, any Spanish-speaking viewers I may have. I know he's not technically... Milio's more Colombian inspired, I think, than anything. Oh! But the power of fire and friendship will... We didn't win. We didn't win at all. Fallen! Oh my god! But correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Fuemigo is a combination of the words in Spanish for fire and... Or is it... It's fue and amigo, or... It's fue something. It's regardless. It's fire amigo. It's fire friend. That's beautiful. It's just little slime rancher goobers falling across the rift. I can't wait to see what else they do with him and other skins. And also, like, it's just silly that he just plays around with them. He just toys with little rubber balls, throws them around, hands them to people. He kicks them, which apparently they like being kicked. Like a football, it doesn't seem like it'd be very fun, but I guess if you're made of jelly or fire, it doesn't really matter. I do appreciate, though, they made his Q significantly longer. I remember when I played AP Milio for the 2023 Rewind, I swear his Q range was half this before. You know what's crazy? I think we're actually gonna have time to talk about skins. When's the last time I've had ample time to talk about skins in a casual champion review? It's been like 3,000 years. I know I was talking about earlier about how Wild Rift kind of scammed Milio players out of his flavorful ability. But I don't want to hear anybody complaining about the state of Wild Rift exclusives after what they did to Milio. Because they got Milio early. Yeah, that's pretty good. Ideally, they would have gotten the Fairy Court skin because that was his newest skin, but they decided to give him an exclusive. I think Wild Rift's transitioning to doing nearly all exclusive skins these days. But he got Pulse Fire Milio, which is fine. But the reason I say that we can never complain about Wild Rift exclusives is because, well, they got Pulse Fire Milio. They were stuck with that. Gromp assisted kill. We got Rain Shepherd at the same time. And Rain Shepherd, I still hold the candle to this. That is one of the absolute best skins released this year. It is so adorable, so perfect for him, especially because the Fernacita uses as an actual just big waterfall backpack. The fact that his Flamigos in the Fairy Court skin were just his base Flamigos with wings, but here they were full on tadpoles. It's a little kid playing in the rain. Don't we all have memories of doing that? So much this character exudes bringing you back to your days. It's just a little tyke playing in the rain with your friends and little silly animals. And Rain Shepherd Milio exemplifies that even more so. I think their game's ending. Well, that was great. Thank you fellas for watching this casual champion review. Hope you enjoyed some AP Milio ballin', and I'll see you next week for Misfortune. All right, goodbye.